Morning. Take a seat, please. Anupam. Or do we call you Anand? Anupam. Anupam, for the benefit of the panel, can you give us a brief introduction?
Yes. So my name is Anupam Anand Kishore. I was born in Bihar, but I am currently living in Mumbai because my parents, my father is in MES, Military Engineering Services. So we move a lot. Sir, I am a BTech graduate from Mechanical Engineering from Nagpur University in 2019 itself. And I have been preparing full time for this job from 2021.
Have you had any previous job experience? No.
No.
But with that kind of a professional degree, you don't feel like following in your father's footsteps or taking up a career in mechanical engineering? What impels you towards the civil services?
Sir, actually it's the prestige and the nature of the job, the challenges and the diversity of the job. Plus, sir, I love to apply those things I have learned in my experience to solve the challenges I have. And I love to learn some new things. And my interest, as you can see in my DAP also, sir, are very wide-ranging. So I believe it would be the perfect job, sir. Plus, there is one more thing, sir. I have seen the status of Bihar, actually North Bihar, Teru division, from where I come. And sir, it is very dismal. That's why I want to work this.
I wonder if you went through a newspaper article about MES the other day. It was attacked by a senior army officer. He said that it's disgraceful, it's unprofessional, it needs to be corporatized. Did you see that newspaper article?
Sorry, sir, I did.
Anyway, how would you react to that kind of a statement?
Sir, I think everybody is entitled to their opinion. There is freedom of speech and there. And every department has its ups and downs. There are good people everywhere, there are bad people everywhere. We cannot club everyone in the same category. And MES is an essential part of the support group of the army or the support infrastructure. And it is very much required, sir. A better way would be to, for that gentleman or sir to suggest something better that could be implemented.
Right. With your background in mechanical engineering, can you tell us something about driverless cars?
Sir, driverless cars are kind of unmanned cars, and presently there are two kinds. One of them is a remote kind, like children are using remote controlled toys. There are also one kind of driverless cars, and another one which is upcoming is artificial intelligence driven, which is Tesla's cutting edge model. It believes in the sensors and Internet of Things, for which we also require 5G, and complete integration of all systems and modules, and that would be the future, in my belief.
But would it work in a place like India with the kind of chaos that we have on the roads?
Yes, sir, it is a very interesting question actually. I have seen people comment that in Canada or other developed nation, people collide very much. Even their streets are not so much chaotic, but India, we somehow make it work. So I think, sir, we will make it work.
What happens to the legal angle? Suppose there's an accident, who will be held accountable?
Sir, in my very limited opinion, sir, I believe the system is faulty if it's colliding, but I don't think, I don't know who can be held accountable.
Okay. My final question. I would put it to you that that prohibition has failed in Bihar. Would you agree?
Partly, yes, sir. Because in 2016, when Nitish Kumar ji started that, it gave good results. But today, sir, it has become an underground mafia. And as Kautilya said, some things cannot be prohibited. It should be taxed. It would be better if it's taxed. Plus, Bihar is a revenue-hungry state, and around 15% or 20%, around 5,000 crore is foregone in alcohol and liquor subsidy, liquor revenue only, sir, and would be beneficial if it is taxed.
Right. Thank you, Anupam.
Okay, your mother is also, does she help in agriculture?
No.
But you have agriculture land?
Very little, sir, but it's in Bihar, and my parents live in Mumbai.
Okay. Okay, you said what I learnt in engineering I can use it. So which part of engineering, mechanical engineering, you can use as IAS officer?
Sir, in general administration, only the mechanical engineers intuition or whatever I have learned, the basic diagnosis of things, or whenever I see a thing, there's a mindset that breaks it down to its resolute pieces, then understands it, and then apply it to scale and reform it. But in general administration, I don't think, sir, anything would be much useful.
Now we were talking about automobiles. Something very significant is happening in the automobile sector. What is happening in terms of engineering wise?
Sir, I believe EVs are given a push. Then there is Make in India.
Yeah, so EVs are coming, right? And you are a mechanical engineer. Now I am telling you, I am also one. So I see engine has almost 2000 moving parts, right? And electric car has a motor. So number of moving parts is drastically low, right? On top of it, if the motor goes bad, you just replace the motor, right? So what I am saying is that in the new dispensation, you don't have to scrap an electric car. There's no reason why to scrap an electric car, isn't it?
Yes,
There's no pollution, so you don't have to scrap it. Technically, you cannot force a man to scrap it, right? So the car will go on forever. So is industry not committing harakiri?
Sir, it is a very major cause. Actually, sir, it is noticed that in 1990s also, General Motors started it. The first EV came out in 1990s and it was scrapped because of this issue only, sir. They thought that it would require servicing and it would make a case when they all will be go bankrupt and there would be no supply issue, this kind of issue.
So what to do about this?
No, sir, the world is changing. Whether we change or not is not up to us, but we will have to adapt to the world.
Second point. Now, what will happen to the roadside mechanics who were earlier repairing these IC engine cars?
Sir, in the case of Industry 4.0, in everything, we are seeing there is a requirement of upskilling and cross-skilling. So the roadside mechanics would also have to be upskilled and reskilled, sir, accordingly.
Yes, but the electric car fellow, I just had bought one. It says, don't touch me anywhere. So I am the last man to take it to a roadside mechanic. He says, this is high voltage, this is high voltage, this is high voltage, don't touch anything. It will kill you also. So how will we take it to a roadside mechanic? I think a huge disaster is coming for the roadside mechanics.
Sir, it would be, but I think with proper skilling, sir, it would be beneficial for them also. And society is moving forward, whether we want it or not. So we have to adopt, sir.
Yeah, but anyway, this is going to be an important issue. Okay, one more thing. Tell me, if we talk of gender gap index, so what 4 things we would like to measure to find out gender gap index is there or not?
Sir, India's most population is rural only. So I believe, sir, they do not adequately capture the rural population's work.
Gender gap, I'm saying. Yeah, so 4 parameters I would like to measure.
Sir, first of all, ILO's suggestion has been that we should include not only the paid domestic work, but also the women who are working in domestics, such as cutting trees, cutting crops, this kind of things should also be included. That would be one criteria, sir.
So what is it called? Work participation of women.
Yes.
Okay, 1. Second?
Sir, then there is a glass ceiling of how much the women are in the top positions or managerial positions. That would be the second case.
That is work participation only. Okay.
Sir, then work according to, sir, the areas which are considered as men only, such as construction. There also women are very much.
You have to tell 4 parameters to measure gender gap. Come on.
I cannot.
Political empowerment, okay, political, educational attainment, and economic wise, And of course, what you have already said. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anupam, you come from Maharashtra, right? Your parents are residing in Maharashtra. Why this insider-outsider debate is so endemic to Maharashtra?
Ma'am, there is a son of soil debate everywhere which has enough progressed, I believe. So whenever a society is progressing, there is a natural tendency of us versus them. And some cases it would be beneficial. The regionalization of politics or regionalization would be beneficial if you are saying that we are working for our own society to uplift it, to better it, and not to denigrate others. So, ma'am, it is beneficial also.
In some cases. But my question was why it is endemic to Maharashtra. It's not so popular in other parts of the country.
Yes, ma'am, kind of. But even in Haryana, even in Jharkhand nowadays, there is some kind of bill which says that the original people are going back to 1932. So, ma'am, it is a growing demand everywhere. But Maharashtra is, ma'am, very developed state, and there are many migrants from UP Bihar. That's why it's so much endemic, ma'am. They see that they are taking their jobs. But recently, I've learned from the book of Abhijit Banerjee that he had argued that no, the migration doesn't take people's job. So I don't think that would be the issue.
Okay. Anyways, your optional is PSIR, right? You must have studied Machiavelli, right? Machiavelli says prince needs to have qualities of fox and lion, right? So now modern day civil servant consider him to be a prince. So now according to Anupam, what are two qualities of a lion, two qualities of a fox, which modern day civil servant needs to have?
Ma'am, the major quality of lion is patience. Patience. And ma'am, killer instinct. Or to
Killer instinct, civil servant should have.
Ma'am, to do things. Yes, ma'am.
They're two different things, Anupam. Killer instinct is something different. To do something is something different.
Ma'am, very oriented, means program oriented or outcome.
Outcome oriented. Okay. Fox.
Fox, ma'am, it is adaptability or how to make connections. And again, ma'am, it's also outcome based. But in Fox, there is much more of relation management also, ma'am.
Okay. Can you please tell us two most diametrically opposite thinker you have come across when you were studying PSIR? It could be from Western, it could be from Indian.
Ma'am, Rousseau.
Okay.
Rousseau and I believe Locke.
Rousseau and Locke, how? How they are different?
Ma'am, Rousseau talks about general will and he talks about real freedom or real consensus. Would be everybody would have a single consensus or general will in which whenever we deliberate and debate, we would come to one single point, and that would be the general basis. But in Locke, he says that mind is tabula rasa. We are all free to do everything, whatever we want. We have just to abide by 2 or 3 social contracts. So they are different.
When did Locke said this? Social contract is one mechanism which he came up with. He was not saying to adhere to any laws. No. Rousseau talked about general will. Opposite to this, what the concept Locke came up?
Ma'am, he is given constitutionalism or 3 laws. You should follow this, and if you don't follow this, you have the right to revolt or go against the state.
Okay. Do you think Marxism is still relevant?
Yes, ma'am. It will always be. Ma'am, I think in the present scenario, Marxists have adopted democracy and Democrats have adopted Marxism. Democrats have adopted so that they are social welfare scheme or welfare state. But the Marxists have adopted, as we see in the new Marxist from Herbert Marcuse's era, that they have used the democracy as a weapon to change, to bring change in the society.
Okay. Anupam, do you feel there is any place of morality in international politics?
Ma'am, I would be wrong if I say yes, but morality would be, ma'am, according to the national interest. Only when the national interest...
Okay, I got it. So now India is spearheading G20, right? And now with G20 we have this mission of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. World is a global village. Now situate India's approach towards Rohingyas. and then try to situate it and make a connection with Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, which we are following.
Now, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam means world is one family. So we have a responsibility towards others. Plus, we are also heading the G20 and Global South also. We are considering
Just come to Rohingya issue directly.
Ma'am, Rohingya issue, India sees it, is not our problem. India as much as sees it. India's solution is that it would be not better for us to adopt Rohingyas or anybody else to take care of Rohingyas, but better we should resettle them in their own countries. India is providing material and building homes there and negotiating for a peace or a resolution with the army. And
Do we have a refugee policy?
No.
We don't have a refugee. Last question. Something which is not there in this DAF, which you would like to mention?
I can't remember, ma'am, anything on the top of my mind.
Okay. Over.
So Anupam, you mentioned, or there was discussion on electric vehicles being the future, but there's a lot of criticism also on electric vehicles for for the energy, the charging stations, etc. The energy that is being used. Why?
Energy that's being used is also grey energy or fossil fuels energy. So one way or another, we are just decreasing the efficiency because whenever we transform one kind of energy to another kind, we're just decreasing the efficiency. So unless and until we are going totally green in our consumption of thermal power plants or electricity, we are just making smoke stream.
Production should also be green.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that possible, you think?
Yes, ma'am. It would be definitely possible. The most exciting issue today is, ma'am, fusion, nuclear fusion.
Yes, that's the latest, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. It has been recently proved that it can achieve more critical success, but still there is long ways to go. So I believe fusion is one area.
Before that, yeah, what are the others? Before that, what are the options?
Ma'am, there is always renewable energy and hydro energy.
Hydropower, yeah. And
then there is solar energy. If present day's efficiency of 24% with Pascovite is increased, for example, ma'am, there are some experiments going on which includes carbon nanotube, and they are going to increase the efficiency up to 33 or 34%.
efficiency of what?
Ma'am, solar panels.
Solar panels.
Yes, ma'am. That would be better and beneficial. And plus, ma'am, there is an issue of charging stations, infrastructure, and then the batteries. With the recent cache of lithium coming out from Jammu, ma'am, it would be good to see.
That will take more time also because they're still doing analysis whether it can be used efficiently, mined efficiently and used efficiently.
Yes, ma'am.
So you've heard of the International Solar Alliance.
Yes,
Tell me a little bit about that and what are its sort of aims?
Ma'am, International Solar Alliance was headed by India, and there has yes, ma'am. They're created or
along with
sponsored.
France.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, there are I think 101 countries, 101 countries there, and it has an aim to promote solar energy and connect everything to one grid, one world, one sun, one grid. Ma'am, it has been one of their initiatives.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, for doing that, India is sponsoring, ma'am, Make in India, and India has also increased the tariffs for domestic production, protection of domestic industry also.
Incentives are being given.
Yes, ma'am. Under PLI, the modules of solar modules, the photo sensors.
So how quickly do you think we will move in that, achieve what we, our aims are for this, for solar energy?
Ma'am, presently we are looking
What
to...
are the impediments?
Yes, ma'am. Presently we are looking to upscale the things or create an industry ecosystem. But I think, ma'am, more focus should be on R&D also. Like I have said, the present day, ma'am, efficiency is only 24%. That also is second generation. So, ma'am, I think it should be increased. The more focus should be that. And the maintenance of the solar panels, they are also a big issue. So, ma'am, apart from that, it is also required.
You are a science fiction movie person.
Yes, ma'am.
So what does science fiction talk about? It talks about self-propelled cars and everything self.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's an energy, you look at it and it gets transformed. So what do you think it's going, are we following science fiction or it'll happen, whatever is there?
Ma'am, in these 50 years or so, ma'am, there has been no major breakthrough science, and it will be happening, in my opinion. One should always be optimistic. And there was science fiction movies which talked about how in 1980s that by 2020s we will be all flying in cars and there will be UAVs everywhere.
Yes.
So,
So some of it has happened. Drones are happening, and cars that rise and go above the traffic and go flying cars, and that's also been done, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So those cars are why are they not being sort of promoted in a bigger way?
and they are not efficient enough.
They're not efficient.
They are not. The load is not so much. Load carrying capacity is not so much. And ma'am, somewhere there is not a remarkable difference in what you can take a metro or a flight to that. There's not so much of initiative to change to that.
All right.
Mr. Anupam, in the extracurricular activities, you're talking about the particle physics.
Yes.
So, what do you think India's contribution to this particular field and also to the quantum physics?
India has a titular contribution. For example, Satyendranath Bose, S.N. Bose, discovered the Bose-Einstein condensate, which is the fifth matter state. Sir, after him, the basic particles of the forces, they are named bosons, sir. The bosons are those particles which do not apply the Pauli exclusion principle, and they are all in one state. So, sir, like the electromagnetic force, gravity force, strong nuclear force, and weak forces. All these four forces are transmitted by the bosons only, sir. It has titular contribution to that.
And the other area you are talking about is the geopolitics and defense analysis. So, what transformation you see in terms of defense security challenges in the recent 5 to 10 years, in the last 1 decade or so?
So, the COVID time has been a game changer for everything. For India's rising stature, for Make in India, self-reliant India, everything has been changing with COVID. With COVID, we have shown the world that we have arrived on the stage and we are ready to help everybody in capacity building, in defense arms supplying, everything. So, sir, in recent years, the government has said that 75% of the procurement is going to come from within, and there is going to be a negative list also. There was previous year also negative list. So, government is focusing on transfer of technology and manufacture in India. For that, ISET is there with USA. Even UK is saying that Rolls-Royce would be making an engine, which is very necessary in the next 8 years also. And then, sir, there is collaboration with Russia on all the major partners except Beijing. Our relations are very good.
Okay. So, do you see any new dimensions that are adding up to the security challenges as such?
Yes, sir. There is cyber and then there is space. These are the recent two dimensions. And then there is nanotechnology, which is going to be coming in. It's also going to be a very fascinating area.
So, how do you think that information is going to play a role in this particular defense security?
So, as we have seen in the recent Russia-Ukraine war, information plays a very critical role. Russia has took out the satellites and communication of Ukraine very early and very recently. But Elon Musk and the private players pitched in, and they started to give the capabilities or support system to them also. And besides that, sir, challenges would be coming in form of encryption, decryption. The quantum keys technology is another area in which decryption and encryption is going to take place. And then there is a futuristic infantry combats, which focuses on the data-based and infantry soldier-based platoons, or the main the unit will be a person who is totally connected with his surroundings, and total situational awareness will be there, sir. That is the future of warfare.
So, do you make any observations in information policy in the latest, in how it is going to safeguard our information?
Yes, sir. There is data centers being propped up, and then there is data policy, data governance policy, all are being coming up. And then there is big data analysis, which is very important. AI, machine learning, they are very important, sir.
Okay. So, and you are talking about automobile industry transformation. So, recently there has been a lot of talks about hydrogen fuel. So, what potential do you see in it? And you are not talking about that particular aspect.
Sir, hydrogen economy is very good. India has granted 20,000 crores for it. Presently, the rate of manufacture is around $20 per kg, but Indian government plans to bring it down to $1 or $2 per kg. So it would be very beneficial for India, but it has several challenges. For example, the electrolyzers we use, they are made up of rare materials. The technology of membranes and permeable membranes, they are present at very small scale. We need to upscale it, and more private contribution is going to be needed. Furthermore, sir, there is a need of collaboration with the academia, not only Indian, but on the global stage. So, sir, it is also going to be needed. And hydrogen has one more issue, sir. It is very much required that you store it in a compressed manner, and it's very volatile. So there has to be an absorbing of some kind. For example, carbon nanotubes are very good for that. So we have to scale it up there also, sir.
So, how do you see the recent lithium reserves that were identified? So, what impact does it going to bring in terms of energy security in India?
So, it's a God-given blessing. It's a white gold, sir. Everybody is looking for lithium, and I think India has the third largest reserve, which is inferred. And it's only the starting. I believe only one area of 18 locations have been dug out, and I think it could be increasing. And lithium is not only used in EVs, but it would also be used for fusion, for creating tritium, which is also very much the fuel of the future.
Okay. So, in the cadre preferences, you have chosen your own native state as your first preference. How do you justify it?
Sir, I have been to there. I don't very much go there because my parents are moving always. But when I got there, my village, sir, it was flooding every year, almost every year. My grandparents used to tell me that we had some bumper crop or something like that, but water came in, there was standing water, and everything was lost. And so it's a recurring phenomena, sir. So I want to work for them, sir.
So, do you identify any solutions in your experience so far?
Yes, sir. I believe, sir, there should be lakes made, and oxbow kind of lakes along from the river plain. Wherever the maximum area of extent of the river while flooding is there should be oxbow lakes, and the lakes should be dug out. The sand should be used for making embankments. Whenever the river floods, it would be created oxbow lakes, and then they should be canalized, or canals should be made from there. And yes, sir, only small things are needed, and hand holding of the government is needed to make the situation better.
Thank you, Anupam.
Thank you, sir.